Let's begin with the obvious, the largest donation ever to an endowment for the university from Senator Shelby. This isn't something you just trail a newscast with. This will be a lead story in a lot of places. I know it's in your mind too.
Well, it's a unique endowment that Dr. Shelby, or Senator Shelby, worked on with his wife, Dr. Shelby, for many years. It's a $100 million endowment to support excellent, distinguished faculty at the University of Alabama. It's designed to be a permanent, perpetual endowment. It can make a transformational difference for students for years to come at the university. And Dr. Dalton, the provost at the university, and Dr. Bell, the president, have great plans for this for the benefit of our students.
Yeah, now, Senator Shelby, long career, represented the state of Alabama. And you were saying he's done a great deal for the state. This is just going to continue that legacy will continue.
There's no doubt about that. This endowment, along with the creation of the Institute for Policy and Leadership at the university, is something that will benefit students for years to come. We're interested in public policy and leadership around the state. That will influence generations to come. Likewise, he has done incredible things here at UAB. He secured a research endowment to complete the Shelby Research Park, which will allow UAB to attract researchers from around the country to continue to do the incredible work that they're doing here, also impacting all of our citizens every day.
Chancellor, you, the presidents of the universities and leadership teams have gone through a 3-year period that no educational leaders have ever had to deal with before. How has the system come out of the challenges of the last 3 years?
We've learned a lot. We have come through strong. We know that there are things we've got to do to be ready for the future. The thing that impressed me the most that I learned is that our students want to be on campus. They want a higher education experience. There was a time when we weren't able to have regular classes. I worried that students might decide, well, they don't need a higher education other than what they can obtain off of their computer. But I'm not worried about that anymore. They know that higher education is more than what you learn in the classroom. It's a transformative experience for so many people.
From a practical point of view, how would this endowment work? If you could maybe expand on that a little bit.
That's right. Well, we're working on the details of that, but it will be a permanent endowment, the interest of which will be used to recruit and retain excellent, distinguished faculty. We've learned over the years that students want to be with brilliant researchers. Brilliant researchers have to be attracted to a place that supports them. So that's the purpose of this.
Any idea how many professors, if you will be hired?
You know, I don't. Dr. Dalton will be a better qualified to answer that question, but I know it could be many, and it can increase over the years.
UA has risen in the ranks as a research university recently. How do you feel like this gift is going to impact their rise as a research facility?
It can only help. It can only help that. Attracting outstanding, distinguished faculty brings research dollars with it. They follow those top researchers because in most cases the best researchers are also the best teachers.
Any other questions for the Chancellor?
Do y'all know a total of how much federal omnibus money is going toward efforts with the UA system beyond the endowment?
I have seen that figure. I don't want to quote it because I might be wrong, but I think it's in the hundreds of millions.
And is that historic?
Yes.
And that endowment is strictly from Congress, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. We're talking about just this year's appropriations from Congress.
We get it all at once, or is it sort of spaced out?
Some of it has already been received. What hasn't been received will be received soon. So it's not a staggered appropriation. It will be delivered.
Can you speak on how this will add to Richard Shelby's legacy?
Well, it's hard to add to his legacy. His years of service, he has focused on helping his state. That has been his focus. There are a lot of senators that have foreign policy interests. They might have environmental interests. They might have others. His focus for his whole career has been helping the state of Alabama. So this is just another example and a crowning achievement for a long career.
I don't know if it's a once-in-a-lifetime endowment or donation, but Senator Shelby has gone off the charts as far as supporting the university. I know it's an exciting day for you. Just give us your thoughts about this new endowment.
Well, we, as the Chancellor said, it's certainly a record for us, and it is a legacy-setting event for us. You know, our motto is, "We are where legends are made," and there's no better example than Senator Shelby and his wife, Dr. Annette Shelby. This endowment is going to set us up for to hire and retain faculty like we've never had before. I think with the dollars that are coming in, the interest from it, we'll be looking for outstanding faculty in science, technology, education, mathematics, any of the disciplines. It's going to touch every part of the University of Alabama.
What about the impact the Institute itself will have, not only on the University of Alabama, but for the state of Alabama as a whole?
Well, you know, it starts with the students, right? We're a very student-focused university, and having an Institute for Policy and Leadership will be an immediate impact on our students. We plan on bringing in about 20 students per year into the Institute on Policy and Leadership. They'll get exposed to local, state, and national civic politicians and other leadership. And just that experience that they'll take away from that will set them up to become our next generation of leaders.
Can you talk a little bit about Shelby's papers, what the volume amount will be coming to Alabama, and from a practical perspective, I mean, how is this going to be presented?
Well, you can imagine, I haven't been able to see the boxes, but they're in an archival facility right now as we sort through them, and it's a large job to take those from the hard copies they are. We'll be making electronic copies of them so that they can become even shared more readily. I don't know the total number of boxes, but we anticipate that once we get them archived, we've got 2 staff in the library that are working on that already. We are renovating Toomey Hall, which will be a center for that. Will allow students access to the papers, more importantly perhaps our faculty access to those papers. I see a great deal of research that can come out of that, and just looking at the way that he's handled matters, his leadership in those matters, his way to navigate the politics of it, all for the benefit of the state of Alabama. I think there's no greater source of information for our faculty and students to look at.
And will they have access to it right away, or will it be in the fall?
It's going to take some time. I mean, there's some work that has to go on behind the scenes. You know, some of the documents are more confidential than others. There's just the general process of digitizing the manuscripts, the papers, and things like that, which will take some time. We don't have a firm timeline on that. We hope to get that figured out within the next year or so, I'd say.
Is there going to be any new construction on campus to facilitate any of this?
We're not doing new construction. We are renovating Toomey Hall on campus. We'll begin that very soon. That was approved at a recent board meeting. And that space will be a place for the students that are part of the Institute on Policy and Leadership to gather. We'll also have some materials from Senator Shelby's office there that they'll have access to. And then more broadly through Gorgas Library, we'll be able to provide access to the materials.
In terms of Senator Shelby, did he volunteer these papers, or did y'all ask for them?
He volunteered them. You know, he's done so much for the state of Alabama, and we're just fortunate to be the recipient of those materials. It's a large volume of materials, and I think over the years, as that becomes available and shared with our students, faculty, and staff, you'll begin to see the immediate benefits of that.
As far as, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go.
As far as the endowment goes, is Senator Shelby going to have any involvement with, you know, who those faculty are or approving them in any way?
No, he will not. What will happen with the endowment is, as the Chancellor mentioned, the interest from that will roll out about $5 million a year. We anticipate that we'll be able to recruit or retain about 20 to 40 faculty, depending on the level of engagement. Those funds that roll out, if you think about a full professor that we can recruit to the university, we envision up to about $250,000 divided between salary support and most importantly in discretionary research support for our faculty. This really allows us to bring some of the brightest stars from across the world to Tuscaloosa to do their work.
And one more question about Toomey. I understand that used to house the Blunt program, or part of the Blunt program. Are there any plans to support that program with other buildings or anything like that?
Yeah, we've taken a great look at what our Blunt Scholars program as well. Renovations on Oliver Bernard Hall are happening right now. We also did some classroom renovations in Smith Hall to support our Blunt Scholars. So we've taken care of them in the process. I know there was some worry and consternation as we started figuring out how this is going to fit into the campus, but our Blunt Scholars, our McCullough Scholars, and now our Shelby Scholars are all an important part of what we're doing for our students.
My sports team wants me to ask about the new contract for Nate Oates.
Well, you know, Coach Oates is incredible. I'm a big basketball fan myself and was really happy to see that get finalized today and lock him down here at the University of Alabama. There's going to be a lot of great programs that would love to have Nate Oates, but he's going to be in Alabama for a long time.
How do you think an
At least I
endowment?
hope, yeah.
How do you think an endowment like this will affect student growth as well as the research growth of the University of Alabama?
Well, you know, we've been fortunate over the past couple of years to have record enrollment of first-time undergraduates. Both this year and last year, we set records that we hadn't seen before, and that's incredible coming out of the pandemic to achieve that. So I think with the faculty that will recruit through the endowment, that will help us do that. You know, it all starts by having great faculty who are experts in their field. They teach in our classrooms. They engage students outside the classroom in research projects. And this endowment is going to allow us to bring more of those faculty to campus, engage more students, and it will just grow exponentially. And I think, you know, it is really, it's a legacy that's going to last forever, far beyond all of us.
Do you know how much the Institute will cost? I know the endowment's $100 million. Right, or the funding toward that is 100.
Yeah, the endowment is for the faculty initiative that we have. The funding for the Leadership Institute, I think, is around $10 million right now. We're also bringing some other support from the university and from other donors into that. It's separate from the endowment.
Right.
If you look at it, we're going to bring in about 20 students per year into that leadership program. We're going to offer them $1,000 a year in scholarship. We're going to get them to Washington, D.C. To work with leaders there. We'll get them to Montgomery. We'll get local leaders in. And between their travels out to these centers of government and politics, and then bringing those leaders in, even that amount of money is going to really transform things.
Is that going to be a separate, like a minor program, or is that additional to the coursework that they're already taking?
Yeah, so this program will be associated with a minor in political science. Those students who are part of the Institute will also be taking classes to complete their minor in political science. So between the minor in political science and then the activities and associated things outside the classroom that they're doing in the Leadership Institute, it'll bring together the whole
Thank
thing.
you.